we have with us J. Gandhi, who is a direct disciple of what I would say Hariprasad Chaurasia. So I think it happened in the year 2006. Now you're based in New York?
I'm based in New York, yeah.
Yes. And how did this connection with Hariprasad ji happen?
This
happened in India or it happened?
This happened since I was 5 years old. When I first heard his flute, for my entire childhood, he was like my inspiration. And I didn't get a flute until I was learning vocal and other kinds of music. But I got my bansuri when I was 12, and then before I met him, I was learning from him. So then I had many other wonderful gurus before, and then eventually I went with him. I got to meet him and learn from him.
And it happened in India or it happened while you were there in the US?
In Mumbai.
In Mumbai.
I went to move to Mumbai.
You were actually from Mumbai?
My family's from Mumbai, but I grew up in the US. I was born in the US.
Okay, right. So, you are founding member of Brooklyn Brother Massive, which is a music collection?
It's a collective of different kinds of musicians. I'm one of the members. There are many musicians who created a collective.
And there is a thriving ambience now in New York with the different musicians coming in and the culture.
There's a nice community.
Community for Indian culture and spirituality as well.
Indian culture, spirituality, many other. So New York has so many different cultures.
Many different things.
So it's but this particular community has more focus on Indian music, but it also involves many other kinds of music.
Yes, and I would just like to mention a couple of things with your performance with jazz musicians, because you have also looked beyond certain classical borders, getting into American jazz and Afro music as well, African music as well.
Yes, many kinds of.
Yes, and you have performed with Ravi Coltrane and Reggie Walkman, Jeffrey Watts.
Yes.
So how did that musical development take place? I mean, that layer.
Yeah, I as a child growing up, I was exposed to Indian music, but I was also exposed to American music because I grew up in the U.S.
What was American music?
American jazz is America's great contribution from the African slaves mixing with European classical music. From that was born jazz.
Yes.
And
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Yes.
New Orleans.
So I grew up with that music too. I grew up playing jazz as well. I played guitar, and then eventually I started playing on bansuri. So I studied at conservatory for jazz. Yeah. Yes.
Because you have studied also in Ohio Music Conservatory.
Oberlin.
Yes. And Marcus Belgrave, I think one of your teachers.
I was going to do this, but we don't do that for jazz. But yes, Marcus Belgrave and Gary Bartz, amazing musicians. And also all my friends there, the peers, I learned so much from everybody. So, and I continue to learn in New York, meeting different kinds of musicians. It's a wonderful, never-ending journey of learning.
Yes, and jazz also has the capacity to introduce certain, uncertainty in the music, a randomness in the music, where you are very open and you are improvising there.
Yeah, it's a very different aesthetic, actually.
Very different aesthetic,
But also the use of harmony.
Yes.
And chord changes.
And contrapuntal as well.
We have in Hindustani classical, you have the tala, you have the rhythmic cycle. In jazz, you have the changes that might run over 12 beats, 12 measures or 16 measures, and this particular form upon which the improvisation happens.
Yes.
So there's just like we have a mukura or a sai, they have a melody. That first you play the melody and then you can improvise, playing around the melody, playing with the harmonic changes. So it's a very and also the rhythm, the rhythmic feel is different.
It's different. And who are your jazz musicians you have looked after? Because we have recently we met Zakir ji as well as John McLaughlin. So who are the musicians? Jazz musicians? Ornette Coleman or
Ornette Coleman is of course one of the greats, but of course John Coltrane, Miles Davis, and there's so many. Lester Young, Billie Holiday, Louis Armstrong, Dizzy Gillespie.
I mean, you can just name one.
And you know, when I say their names, I feel it's like when I think
Suburbs.
of Fayaz Khan Saab or Badi Ghulam Ali Khan, Amir Khan Saab. It's just amazing how they each bring their own unique flavor, identity, and all these jazz musicians similarly have a very unique quality as an artist.
Quality
and
and
that
artist.
is conveyed in their music.
Yes. And the fact that different cultures get amalgamated in the fabric of what you call the jazz music, which is kind of a flow.
Yeah.
And so there is a sense of not only an aesthetic sense, a spiritual sense also, right? Because you are now incorporating so many different things under one mosaic
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, one of the things that everybody, John Coltrane is, of course, one of the great legends, you know, maybe akin to the status of like Amir Khan Saab.
Yes.
Or, I mean, if you want to make an analogy.
Yes.
But he was also very inspired by Indian classical music.
Yes.
And especially inspired by the kind of what he felt was the kind of spiritual intention or whatever word you want to use, inward looking, and so that
Introspection.
But his aesthetic of music was African American, and that's where he was rooted. But so that's
drive.
where I feel a strong connection with his music, of course.
Yes.
But that's,
Is there any new project which you want to tell the audience? Which you're
Every day
working
is a
on?
new project.
Every day is a new day. Zen.
Every day is a new day. I just I live. I think, and all the other musicians too, we live for these magical moments. And it's for our own peace that, I mean, I don't want to play if it's not peaceful. I want to feel good when I play. And so, I think if we feel good, then other people will feel
Joy.
good. Yes.
Joy.
Yeah, joy.
Joy.
Joy, yes. Yes. Thank you so much.